So Gothamites, I'm absolutely ecstatic to say this, but that was my favourite episode of Season 5 so far. Yes, we're only 3 episodes in, I could say that a bunch more times, but yeah, that beats episode 1 and 2 for me, and watch this review and breakdown to find exactly why. How's it going, Gothamites? Welcome to a weekly review of Gotham Season 5 Episode 3. I believe it's titled Penguin Our Hero. And as you could probably tell from the intro, I'm quite hyped to talk about this episode because it was very good. Episode 1 beat Episode 2 for me, but Episode 3 beats both of them. So current ranking so far, not that I ever do this, is like 3, 1 and 2. And maybe I'll do a ranking after the season ends. But anyway, this episode was good. Just because the general episode was better than last episode and stuff like that. But what we got is what a lot of people have wanted to see from Ecco's character. And that's just a lot more of her. We've always been very intrigued by her character for the longest time. I'm sure you guys, without me going too deep into this, know the whole confuffle thing with the Harley Quinn-esque character, or will she ever be in the show? They've teased it. They've even admitted that Barbara was going to go there, but then they scrapped that. Then there were articles saying Harley Quinn is never going to be in the show, but then along came this character played by actress Francesca Ruth Dodson of the name of Ecco with the Jeremiah storyline, and yeah, they kind of went back on everything Gotham said because she appears to be, if not Harley Quinn herself, the closest thing we'll get to it, and definitely Gotham's version of that character, at least for now. This episode just brought out so many qualities that I was happy with. Sure, Gotham does things differently, but I was very satisfied by those scenes between Ecco and Selina towards the ending of this episode. But Gothamites, just before I get into this review and breakdown into the specifics of everything, I want to let you guys know that on Monday, I have an interview with Francesca Ruth Dodson, who plays Ecco, and that is very exciting to me, but also I'm very nervous because I've never done an interview before. But I want you guys to get involved, so obviously I'm going to ask a couple of questions of my own, but I want it to come from you guys. Since, you know, we have quite a big Gothamite fan base here, I want you guys to submit questions over the weekend. I'll pluck out a few to ask Francesca, so stick around to the end of this video to make sure you know exactly how to do that and exactly how to get a chance of your question being asked. Anyway guys, subscribe to this channel if you're brand new for more Gotham reviews and discussions and breakdowns just like this for the rest of Season 5. And of course, like this video if you do go on to enjoy it, as you guys crush it every time. So this episode wasn't just amazing because of Ecco, it had quite a few other features in it which I really enjoyed as well. For example, the Batcat moments, and I'm not just talking about the romantic kissy moment or anything like that, just genuinely when they were against the mutant gang, that was really cool. And just a few other things throughout the episode that kept up that kind of foreshadowing into these two characters into the future was just awesome, but I'll get to that in a bit. But let's start off with Penguin. Penguin actually has people singing as he walks into his like city hall office thing. Like, I love that. I know at the same time I don't like it, but it's just so Penguin that, you know, I wouldn't really expect anything else. From the trailers up until now, we've seen his face getting pampered. I think that was in the first episode actually, with like brushes and stuff. Now he has people singing like Penguin songs and stuff like that, and he's got his dog Edward. It's just all one big meme at this point. But Oswald, you know, as typically this episode, is a bit annoyed about having his subjects, as he likes to put it, defecting to Jim's, you know, haven, like in the green zone. The GCPD have this safe bit of Gotham, and people are like literally running away from Penguin. So Oswald in this episode was, you know, good. As always, Robin Lord Taylor's acting is on point. I just have to say, whenever he does a Penguin scream, you know, like a proper frustration shout or cry, if you will, it always makes my day. And obviously the Street Demons gang came in, obviously like accused him of like killing his people, even though we know that was Ed, because, you know, they left a calling sign saying Penguin was here. It's just like, well, would Penguin really do that? It seems that somebody's setting up a war between them. Oh, they didn't think enough about that. And, you know, it kind of worked because they came in guns blazing. But on the other side of things, guys, of course, we had Selina having bad dreams, like nightmares, if you will, about Jeremiah. And this is what fuels her to want to get her revenge. Obviously, she probably had this in store anyway. But the fact that she's being kept up at night of being shot over and over again must be absolutely haunting and terrifying. So her main goal this episode was to go after Jeremiah, or at least get it a little bit closer to finding him. And this segues me to that perfect example of like Bruce said something that I felt really was, you know, if you just aged them 10 years older or something like that and they were Batman and Catwoman, I felt like that was an actual line Bruce would say. Bruce said something like he needs to stand trial for turning Gotham into a madhouse, you know, like we do it the right way. We kind of like by the book, you know, it's just very reminiscent of Jim Gordon or like Bruce when he's older as Batman, not like a killing Batman version, but the guy who wants to do it by the book as best as he can. And when Selina's eyes just lit up then, I felt like it was kind of a Catwoman-y kind of move using him, because I think she has the idea of, she knew she would do it her way, but you know, thank God Bruce is helping her out, but he doesn't have to know this until later. I just felt like that was kind of a Catwoman-y thing to do. She was just kind of using him for a little bit of muscle. But let's talk a little bit about Gotham's Dark Zone. This is at the point of the episode where things got very exciting. We obviously had that guy who was running away with like a bomb attached to him when Selina and Bruce got to the Dark Zone. And yep, he blew up. There was a load of nails and shrapnel in it. It looked like he was just getting trolled by the mutant gang, and that is when they did run into the mutant leader gang, and this scene was really, really cool. I thought they did a really good job with the choreography, the fighting, you know, Bruce taking on multiple people, and Selina just going after the big tank that is the mutant gang leader. I mean, obviously she went a bit too far. This is all a part of a new kind of you know, Selina Catwoman persona post-potion. She was asking where Jeremiah was, and she just kept slicing at his face. And it just really does remind me, if you've watched any of the Arrowverse shows, mainly Arrow with the Lazarus Pits, after you get put in that, you kind of have this bloodlust. Thea Queen had that arc for quite a while on the show, and it really does feel like they're kind of mimicking that vibe, if you know what I mean. Selina almost has this bloodlust. Once she gets into that violence, she can't really help herself. And yeah, she's just, as I think Cameron Beacon-Dover said herself, more animalistic. It's more instinctual just to keep, you know, clawing away, I guess. But just before that fight even began, another Batcatty moment began. Just the way they were being filmed there, and Selina was there and she was just smiling, looking at Bruce, and she said the line, I don't think these guys are into talking, Bruce. I could just imagine Batman and Catwoman being there in a similar situation with thugs on the street saying the exact same thing with a little smirk, and then bang into the combat. That's what I love with what Gotham can do in this 5th and final season. Really make fans like ourselves see those future characters in those present characters, or in the past, if you will, because Gotham's a prequel after all. Now, jumping back to Jim and Oswald and that whole stuff this episode, it kind of made me laugh when they kind of, you know, well, Jim got put into the jail-y cell, if you will, by Oswald. Then it turns out that he got, you know, is backstabbed by the street demons, so they had to end up working together. Obviously, Jim and Oswald had to come together at some point this season. I don't think this is necessarily a complete end of, you know, Oswald's, oh, I will give you 100,000 rounds of whatever you want for his head or something like that. There has always been this respect, I think, between those two since the very first season, since the very first episode. Technically, Oswald owes his life to Jim because, well, he would be dead if he had actually killed him in that first Gotham episode. So I don't know if it would ever come down to it, if Oswald would do that, or if he would just, you know, put him in a cell. But seeing Jim and Oswald go against each other and then having to work together was very entertaining this episode. It was kind of an inevitability one way or the other, and I'm just wondering if their partnership from here on out is going to improve, because we have seen clips in other trailers of Oswald going to the GCPD and handing over guns to the GCPD. So I wonder where this relationship is going to kind of blossom, if you will. And I almost forgot, rip Mr. Penn, or so it seems. I mean, did we actually see him croak on the screen? Either way, he got shot and it appears as though he's died. I believe Mr. Penn was going to be the ventriloquist this season, so I'm just trying to add up the math in my head, just because they said they're not doing the full ventriloquist arc with that character anymore because they haven't got 22 episodes, blah blah blah. They've had to cut some things out. I'm sure you've heard me talk about this before, but they said you would still see some kind of hint to that storyline. So I assumed you would still see maybe the development or the building of Scarface or something like that through Mr. Penn or something. So that's intriguing. Like, if we're still meant to see that, is this really the actual case? I would love to know what you think down in the comments below. Or will somebody else, I don't know, take over the ventriloquist kind of arc? But they didn't even tease us yet with Mr. Penn and that ventriloquist Easter eggy, because since we're not getting a full ventriloquist storyline, we didn't even see the freaking dummy being built. So we're gonna have to wait and see there with what happens with that. Maybe they've cut it entirely, maybe they haven't, but yeah, for now, rip Mr. Penn. Now let's dive back well into the Bruce and Selina part of the episode. So I almost forgot to mention as well, we saw the Batclaw. It wasn't as cool as what I thought it would be, I have to admit that, because what we essentially saw in the trailer when he first used that was it. Each Batclaw's our arm, but it was still cool that he's got that. I would have liked to have seen an actual scene with Lucius giving him that. I think that scene would have been really good, because Lucius could have been like, oh, here's like a prototype thingy, like if you shoot this button it goes like that, and you should be even able to grapple up to certain ledges because it's got enough power, or hydraulic blah 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 blah. You could imagine Lucius saying something like that, and he could be like, oh, and I'm working on some upgrades for a better one in the future, to the point where you could even go this high, or something like that. They could have really scored with a scene like that, I think. Personally, I quite liked when they were on their way to the Church of Jeremiah place, when Selina was like doing the like Catwoman handstandy kind of things everywhere. It was kind of random, but you know, since she is really animalistic now, it makes sense. So I kind of digged it, and it is, you know, if you like think of Catwoman, she's always quite acrobaty wherever she goes. Now guys, on to the part of the episode with like this Church of Jeremiah and Ecco welcoming her pilgrims into that church. So Selina saw that picture of Jeremiah, and it literally does look like an actual Church of Jeremiah. We have like the stained windows of like Jeremiah. We saw pictures right at the beginning. Selina was pretty triggered by that, and she just wanted to get to Jeremiah. It's as if nothing else matters but getting her revenge. But what I do have to say, guys, and I'm not just saying this, but one of the highlights of the episode was genuinely Francesca's Ecco. I think it's just because for the longest time we've been intrigued with her character. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, it seemed like we were never getting anything close to Harley. Then all of a sudden we get this mysterious Harley-esque character with the symbols almost logo accurate and everything like that. But what else more is there to her? And every time we saw her, it just built up the fascination. But this episode, we actually got her with some lines. Now, what I also commend this part of the episode on as well is that it was very dark. It was very darkly shot as well. Just when Bruce was stumbling across all of those bodies with all the bullet holes in the head, because as we know, to kind of join the Church of Jeremiah, and how Ecco put it herself, which I really thought was a cool way of explaining the situation, or just her absolute madness, which we get an explanation of, and I'll talk about that in a second, is that there's this gift that Jeremiah's brother Jerome gave to him to stare death in the face, and that allows the old you to die, and he wants that gift to be bestowed upon everyone, if you will. So yeah, bottom line here, I feel like Gotham's done a very good job at showing how unhinged Ecco was here, because the game that she got everyone to do was really messed up. She had all of those pistols there were a load of candidates to join the madhouse, but this all escalated to the point where Selina and Ecco were by themselves, and just more stuff that I'm remembering by the second, like Ecco was doing the details that she was putting into the performance, just like tasting blood off the side, blood stains like off the side of the pool is just crazy and gross. But I can definitely imagine that actually being the case with a Harley Quinn-esque character. Her demeanor, her acting was very good. She wasn't trying too hard, trying to put a Harley accent on. But then we got little moments where she said to Selina in the actual fight, "Oh, Puddin', aren't you delicious?" and things like that. And that kind of actually triggered Selina. She even like said, "Don't call me Puddin'" or something like that. But do you know what I mean? Without screaming Harley Quinn in your face, she did a very subtle yet accurate job. Now, what I said I didn't want to bank on, because I just didn't think if they would actually get to this in the episode, is will we get more background behind Ecco? And I didn't actually, as I just said, didn't really expect that, because I don't know what they would truly give to her. But we did get it, but we didn't at the same time, because it was a little bit confusing. But I really dig this. So Selina asked Ecco the question, "Oh yeah, so if you like this game so much, why don't you play it yourself?" And Ecco was just like, "Bitch, please, I do, and I have done that, and I've actually got a bullet in my freaking head that is going bing bang bong around in there, and when it's cold at night I can feel it," basically indicating to the audience that when she got that bullet in her head, I guess that added to her craziness and unhingedness, which was very interesting. But you know, if you want to get nitpicky about it, you could argue, okay, so did she only just get this crazy when she was recruiting for the Church of Jeremiah in this pool, like, you know, blood-stained area, or is this bullet an old bullet wound that maybe her and Jeremiah did way back when? So she went from just, you know, a devoted person to Jeremiah's life to this crazy devoted person. Either way, that explanation, even though it lacks some depth with what I was just saying, we don't know when it occurred. Was it recently? Was it a long time ago? It was enough, and it was very interesting nonetheless. And I think that probably is as much as we're going to get in terms of like background for Ecco's sanity. But I'm grateful that the writers did still put something in there. But yeah, I still would like an explanation as to why, for example, Ecco was following Jeremiah way back in the maze. Was she crazy back then, or was she just like I don't know, his helper, psychologist kind of person, or just person who kept him sane under there, as he explained it, because he was in the maze for years and years and years. Moving onwards, it led to this fight scene. Amazing choreography here. Also, that Selina hiss wasn't as cringy as what I thought it would be. The way she said it, as she was almost pressing her head to the gun, wasn't just a hiss like the trailer kind of made me feel like it was going to be. She kind of incorporated it into what she was saying, and I kind of dig that, actually. I feel like if she just would have hissed, it would have been a bit like but no, it was a bit more than that. But as a result, guys, Selina got shanked in the leg. Ecco got away. Selina is pretty triggered now. She tried to do it Bruce's way, but he's now freaking got his hands cuffed on that wall. And I thought that was pretty stupid. Like, I know Bruce is Batman in the future and everything, but how's he going to get out of that one? I'm sure he'll find a way, but anyone could come along and just do something bad to him. So, but other than that, guys, I love the ending of this episode where Barbara just came along. She was like, "Hi, Pengy. Bye, Pengy." That was really funny. Obviously, she wanted to shoot Penguin. Jim was like, "I'm not going to move." And I really loved that moment, just because I thought to myself, I wonder what Barbara would have done if, you know, that explosion didn't happen and Jim just stayed there. Would she have pulled the trigger? But other than that, it looks like Haven. That was Haven, right? That blew up, which is crazy. And that explains from the trailers as well, where we saw those civilian-like people in the midst of like the ruins of the fire of Haven. So it looks like some people will survive, but I'm intrigued to know who freaking blew that building up. So this episode was very good, guys, and I feel like it did right in so many different ways. From the story throughout, we had things going on with Jim and Penguin, then we had Selina's revenge on Jeremiah, but then since Jeremiah wasn't in this episode, but next episode, we had Ecco, and we got so much to her that fans have been waiting to see for a long time. But as always, guys, let me know your thoughts on this episode down in the comments below. I know it was a bit of a longer video. I blabbered on a bit there, but now I want to tell you guys how you can ask a question for the interview. I'll probably be asking multiple ones just so, you know, I can really get you guys involved. So you can either ask in the comment section of this video, or I'll probably do a post in the community section of my YouTube channel. Thank you so much, guys, for getting involved. That interview will hopefully be posting sometime next week. It's not happening today or tomorrow, but it'll be up when it's up, probably before the Gotham Season 5 Episode 4 episode. But as always, guys, subscribe if you're brand new, like this video if you did enjoy it, and I'll catch you in the next Gotham video, which is probably tomorrow because it'll be the trailer breakdown, and we'll see you then. Goodbye.